Welcome to episode 12 of the current backloggers. The date is April 30th. I am your host, KCP, along with my good friend and co host, Cody G. Cody, how's it going?
Hey man, it's going pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good, buddy. What have you been up to?
Um, so I was like, I'm gonna take a nap before the podcast because I'm still trying to figure out sleep and working nights and days off, and I just seem to be getting worse at it. Like when I first started, I was like, oh, I can handle this. I've always done this, but the longer I go, the more my body hates it or something. So it's getting bad. I just kind of take micro naps throughout the day, and I kind of slept through a couple alarms and then I was like, oh my God, and woke up in pure panic. And then um, came down here like an hour late. And today we, it's been quite the process, but we finally picked out a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
We have one settled, set, secured. We went through. My girlfriend's pretty adamant on going through a rescue, so that's been quite the process with phone interviews. Been pretty weird. They ran background checks on us, and it's almost felt like tests where they're like, "Okay, what do you think about this caller?" And then you're like, "Okay, this is a trick question," or you know, money. You got to pay money and non-refundable money to just even get your application submitted. And the dogs go so quick that I don't know. It's just been weird, but we finally got one settled and chose one and we had to FaceTime with them as we showed them our whole house. It's just really weird. I didn't like any of it. I just felt like I was being judged or something. And a background check for a dog, that's a whole new experience. I
Well, I'm not.
remember I don't think I adopted a dog since they're like, when's the last time you had a dog? And I had to go back and think. I was like, well, we adopted dogs as a family in like the late '90s, and I had those dogs all the way till I graduated high school, and they died. But it felt like we kind of just went to the shelter, and they're like, oh, you want a dog? Here you go. Here's your dog, and then you went home. But this is I don't know why it's changed so much. But now it's like adopting a child.
Um,
References, they actually asked for references and called them.
I didn't get a call.
Yeah, we used you, and they called. I think there was like 5 references. They needed the
Uh,
vet reference too. They wanted to talk to our vet, a vet that we chose. They called, I think, like 2 of the 5 people that we know of. So I was actually going to ask you if they called you, but
yeah, they didn't call me in. Danielle didn't say anything, so I'm sure they didn't call her either.
yeah, it's been weird. But yeah, it's it's probably going to be a pretty big dog. It's a German Shepherd mixed with a oh gosh, what is that dog breed? Mastiff. So it's going to be a big dog.
When you were FaceTiming them, did you have that fucking atrocious shirt on? Because I'm sure that didn't help.
I don't remember. Maybe. Oh god, I didn't think about that. Should I think last night I was telling you I was planning on wearing a Michael Vick jersey just to see the reaction.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't been up to much either. Um, I was gonna say normal 40-hour work week, but I took overtime tomorrow. They're offering it, so I took that. So it'll be more than that. But besides that, just the normal playing games, doing random stuff. I mean, not many options right now, unfortunately.
Is it why is there overtime right now?
Because our business just keeps getting busier, even though everything keeps shutting down and things seem less busy. Ours is getting more busy, so they've been offering it for the past 2 weeks, and then next week, so I'm guessing it'll probably be normal going forward for now.
Yeah, it's kind of odd, man, how people's takes on businesses are. Like, you have grocery stores. My stepmom works for a department store that can be open because they do groceries as well.
Yeah.
She said their business has gone up 50% since the Corona thing started.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of weird to think about. Like some of these small businesses aren't allowed to open,
Uh-huh.
but these big businesses are just getting busier. And then someone will be like, "Hey, what about these guys?" And they flip it, freak out. They're like, "No, no, you can't open. You want people to die?" But then grocery stores and stuff like that are just getting busier.
Oh, I'm with you. Um, so I was thinking we can do our normal show, but I feel like lately we've been talking about random stuff before that and stuff that's not really on our schedule. So if you want to do that first, we could.
I'm
Um,
down for whatever, man.
all right. The first thing I was going to bring up was um, have you been paying attention to this whole AMC thing?
Buddy, that's funny you brought that up. That was the before we started, you were like, well, I just wanted to look up some more news. That's what it was about.
Oh, okay. Well, do you have any input or do you want to say anything before I do?
Um, I'm happy AMC's doing it, and I don't like your Universal's take on it. And it sounds like Cinemark is still pretty neutral, and then Regal is not wanting to say exactly, but they seem like they're ready to do something similar. But they want to wait till it gets closer to opening again.
Yeah. Um,
And I just don't think it's Universal is kind of being like, we're the heroes here. We're the ones that release movies so people can watch it on COVID, but we're also doing it from now on as well. They left that part out of their statement saying that, we are going to release movies from now on like this. And it's not even related to Corona.
yeah. Um, so that is what I was talking about, but I'll start with first because I don't feel like I talk about too much when, even like my solo things I've been doing. When I was talking about how it's crazy how like fragile things really are when you think about everything. And I don't know if I mentioned AMC. That was one of the biggest things because they're. I don't know if you saw Forbes reported that if they don't open till June, they're not sure if they'll be able to open again. And it's so crazy to think that if they took like 3 months off, that their whole business would be done. Because I mean, even as normal people, when we just get like regular small income, we're expected to have 3 months if anything happens. So it's so crazy that businesses that giant can have 3 months off and not sure if they can open again anywhere. Not like let alone just close some buildings or something. I don't. I don't think that is going to be the case, but obviously Forbes isn't like some no name thing. So the fact that they reported it makes it a little scary. But that definitely goes into, and I was talking about what you talked about with trolls, that how Universal said that they well, they released trolls on what was it? What do they call that service? Um,
Video on demand?
yeah, but they did it on like a certain one, but I can't remember what it was. Because it's not just like streaming; you still have to buy it or rent it or whatever. But they did it and made over $100 million already, and which is crazy. But I feel like there's some things that people are ignoring. That the first Trolls made over 60 million, and that was the weekend Doctor Strange came out. So I feel like it could have done that in a theater without Doctor Strange being out, and it made 100 million. But you also got to compare it to what's happening right now. Like you said, they're released it like that because they know that they look like the heroes and that that's the only thing. So they might want to keep doing that in the future, but when things are normal, there's not going to be so many people just waiting and dying to see a movie like Trolls World Tour. That's probably the best part about this. This all happened over Trolls World Tour, but they yeah, I feel a few different ways about it. Overall, personally, I don't like it at all because I don't want theaters to go away ever. I know a lot of people hate theaters and just like the convenience of being at home and whatever, and I like that too. But there's nothing like a theater, no matter how big of a TV you have, sound system, whatever. There's just nothing like going to the theater. And also, you can have that, but it also takes away of it being like something you do with your family or friends. It ends up just being like another thing you usually just do by yourself because it's in your house instead of being like an event to be able to go spend time with people. But I do think that obviously it's heading into a way of something has to give with the theaters. They had to. I know a lot of people talk about like if you see a movie, then you get a download after you see it to be able to own the movie or something. I could see that being a potential. But yeah, I don't want just everything going to digital right away. And I do, like I said, I can see multiple angles, even though I have a personal feeling about it. I can't even see the point of if they are going to release it digitally, but also have it at the theater at the same time. That I feel like that's good on one end because, especially for a movie like that, may do a certain movies like kids movies where maybe a lot of kids can't go to the theater, or a family can't afford to go take a whole family to a theater to see just a kids movie, that they could just rent or buy a movie and have it. And also, then I feel like that frees up for all the people that don't want to listen to kids and just want to go see a movie that kind of works for everybody. Or, we used to work at a theater when there's nothing wrong with mentally challenged people, but it's the most frustrating thing in the world when you're trying to watch a movie and that's happening. And then it also, not even just, that could sound really douchey, but also on their end, it's frustrating because then they have to deal with people being rude and people just wanting to watch a movie. So I do feel like there's a middle ground, but yeah, I don't like the take they took on it, especially, I don't know. I tried to look stuff up. I can't tell how true it is, but AMC said they broke their deal, or Universal broke their deal with AMC because once they open, that they're not allowed to do that. But I don't know if that's actually true, but they did. Then obviously, I think that makes the argument a lot stronger for AMC.
Yeah, it's I know when we worked for a theater too, that we worked for one of the smaller chains, but somebody had told me that I feel like they would have an honest take on it. That something similar like this happened in the past, and that chain that we worked for had also said that they would do the same thing and have no problem with it. So I think once these open back up, these other chains will have no problem standing with AMC.
Yeah,
And what Regal said kind of also hinted around to we don't want to make any statements yet till we're open, but also kind of hinted that they would do something very similar. And I don't know. It's a weird time. Uh, I think physical media or physical stores are on a down or uh, are on the chopping block, and Corona is definitely not helping it. It's making it exponentially worse. I saw a report today too from a similar website to Forbes that they expect 50% of department stores, so your anchor stores of
yeah.
malls, to close by 2021. Um, so that's also weird to think about.
Uh-huh.
It's a weird time, and I do enjoy how easy this stuff is. And I hate going out in public and dealing with people, and nothing worse than going to a theater and just nobody's respecting that you need to shut the fuck up and turn your cell. If you're the people out there that's not shutting up while the movie's on or turning your cell phones off, like you, fuck you. That's the worst. That makes me so angry. So that's the one upside to it, is like I don't have to deal with
Yeah.
those people, and I can pause it, and I'm not stuck to show times. Like God, I gotta get there in 15 minutes, and lines and overpriced concessions. But yeah, I would definitely miss it. It's very nostalgic.
Yeah, I do think the all that stuff is convenient. Well, the concession price obviously it's not really. There's no argument really there at all. That does suck. So I'm not gonna talk about that. But like the show times and not being able to pause and everything, it does suck on one end. That's why I do like the idea of options if you do want to stay home or having convenient things like Netflix. But I actually, it's weird because obviously I don't like that you can't pause and I don't like that you have to be at a showtime. But I guess at the same time, I kind of do because I feel like it does kind of make it like an event, and then also your attention has to be on it, or you're just wasting your money. So I feel like at home, I feel like so many people are like, "Oh yeah, I had it on, but I don't really know what happened," or "Yeah, I just had it on in the background," which I do too. I'm not saying that I'm like some great movie goer where I see every second of it. But that's what I'm saying. I feel like it's so easy to do that that I feel like the theater kind of forces you that you're already spending your money. So if you don't pay attention, it's kind of on you, and you don't have a chance to pause it or just go do other stuff or whatever.
I tell you what, one movie genre that could either be ruined or really enhanced by theaters
Uh huh.
is horror movies.
Oh,
Either, and it's purely based on what kind of people you have around you or how many people. Because either you can
yeah,
have teenagers that won't like put off their cell phones and talk the whole time and completely ruin it, or you could get lucky and be the only person in the theater. When I watched Hereditary, it was me and I think one or two other people in there, and they were also just quiet, and we just sat there. And that really enhanced how scary that movie was or disturbing it was.
yeah,
And I feel like if I was at home, I'd have had to have paused that and taken a break. But the fact that, like you said, it almost provides structure and forces you to watch something. So that
yeah,
I agree with you on that. And that's kind of how it was with Hereditary. To the point that at the end of it, I had to like decompress. Like, what the hell just happened? Because you're just sitting in this. It's not your own home. It's just this creepy
yeah,
theater. It was a late showing, so when I got out there, the whole theater was empty, and it was the last show time, and it was just an odd feeling.
yeah, yeah. And I know for sure I'd absolutely miss movies because right now we're getting more movies than ever because these movies are releasing or really getting more movies than ever at our house because these movies are releasing that would normally release in the theaters. We have Netflix, Hulu, everything's trying to come to home, but still I miss the movies now more than ever. I even on normal days I'm like, ooh, I could go to the movies to be able to get away from all this nonsense. I'm like, oh shit, nope, can't do that either. So yeah, I don't want the movies to go away.
You know, something that's kind of been nice is a lot of my coworkers, they're a lot older than me, but they've all been saying, "Man, I really miss the movies," and I'm kind of hearing that consensus. So I think there'll be a big influx of, if the theaters can stay open, of
Yeah,
people going back to the movies.
yeah, I hope so. And especially if it's I guess I don't know how I want to say it because I'm not that old myself, and I can't stand when people talk about young people. But I feel like older people, like you're talking about, are probably people that come in and don't do all the nonsense that we don't like. So it'd be nice to get more of those kind of people back.
100%, man. That's just so if you pull out your cell phone in a movie, especially like a movie like I think one of the worst ones is The Quiet Place,
Oh yeah,
where that movie's just dead quiet and it's really focused. I physically threw it. Did I ever tell you that? I physically threw a water bottle.
yeah,
There was like some sort of container at these people,
uh
these
huh.
kids in the quiet place. They wouldn't shut up. Oh, it's so bad, dude. I've never done that. I was an animal. They turned me into an animal. But I've had so many outbursts in theaters because of that. It's just so disrespectful, man.
Especially I talked to you about before, but almost every time it's somebody that's on their phone, it's not like somebody that's slyly checking it, or like maybe they need to check something, or even if they are gonna have it on completely the whole time, you can dim phones so far now that you can barely see the screen. But that's complete opposite. The people are on their phone, have it the brightest they can be, and every time they get the text message, their flashlights flash in the back, and just trying to be as obnoxious as they can.
For sure. God
Uh,
forbid if you say anything to them. How dare you? And then we just feed off each other because then I'm like, how dare you? And then before you know it, I'm throwing a water bottle at teenagers like a complete animal.
Trying to Anakin over there. Um, I know I mentioned it on the last episode, but it was our episode that didn't actually happen, and I looked up a little bit more about it. The sequel to Venom coming out with Carnage. It comes out June 25th, 2021, and I think it's a fantastic name. It's a little corny, but it's called Let There Be Carnage. And I told you that Venom is one of my favorite. I don't know if you want to call him a villain. I know it's kind of a debate, but I would say villain. And the only one that I like more than him is Carnage, and I can't fucking wait. And I feel like I had issues with Venom, but overall I thought it was really enjoyable. I feel like it got overlooked because it wasn't part of the cinematic universe, and that's what everybody focuses on.
Yeah, I like the name.
Yeah.
Is
Uh,
Tom Hardy coming back then?
Yeah, well, I know after the first one, he's signed on for another one. So unless something's changed, then he is, and I'm sure I would have heard if he wasn't, because I feel like that'd be big news since he signed on already. And then a similar thing I forgot to talk about when we re-recorded was the Mandalorian like behind the scenes documentary thing I told you about. Comes out on May 4th, so we're only a few days away from it now. But they're gonna release every episode, but with like commentary and like behind the scenes look as the episode happens. And I'm super excited for it. I actually, for some reason, been wanting to rewatch The Mandalorian, so that kind of just gave me an excuse, even though it's not really. I feel like it's kind of different than watching it, but that might be a good way to rewatch it.
Yeah, commentary's nice, man. It's like a podcast
Yeah, that's probably why I
over.
always kind of liked it when a lot of people my age thought it was annoying and stupid.
Did I ever tell you about how I might have said it in the last one, how I one time I accidentally turned it on.
Oh yeah,
I didn't know it was a thing. Thought
yeah.
someone was like had hacked into my DVD player and was spying on me or something. It scared me. My mom
Um,
must thought I was a complete idiot.
did you see the latest outrage, Bud, on Twitter?
No, I actually try to stay off there.
That's probably a good call. This isn't. I know certain people that we know talk about things on social media because one person posted it, but this was one of the top trending things on Twitter. It was about canceling Robert Downey Jr. and it's very funny. I think you were one of the people rewatching Tropic Thunder with me recently. Were you there?
No.
Oh man, I love that movie. You know that, but rewatching it, I was just thinking about how much this movie would not fly now, and him playing a black person or then make fun of mentally challenged people or pretty much the entire movie. You know, I fucking love it. I was just picturing that movie coming out now and how people would destroy it. And especially people love Robert Downey Jr. and don't say anything bad about him past his like early issues. But I don't know. I feel like I jinxed it because everybody's trying to cancel him because they're saying not only did he do blackface, but he got away with it, and everybody still respects him. And I don't know how to handle myself.
Well, that's ridiculous. Have you listened to the new? Oh, well, it's not that new anymore, but the most recent Joe Rogan interview with him.
No.
I think the only one. They talk about it and how his mom, when he approached his mom with he was planning on doing this Tropic Thunder, he she was like, "Don't do it. This is gonna backfire on you." And he's like, "I'm surprised that it didn't." But I think what people got to realize, Tropic Thunder was like a farce on movies
Yeah.
that clearly, like, because you remember when Tropic Thunder come out, all the Vietnam veterans and all that stuff,
Yeah.
like they're disrespecting us and making fun of us, and so they're making fun of movies that like the mentally challenged movies where you have like I think one that really sticks out is the Rosie O'Donnell movie where she was mentally
Oh
challenged.
yeah.
It's so ridiculous to think about now, but I forget what that movie was called. Did you ever watch it?
No, I know what you're talking about though. I remember hearing
God,
about
it's
it, seeing
so
it.
bad. Um, and it's making fun of like Vietnam War movies just being so gory and over the top, and
Yeah.
guys getting shot a million times. And the whole movie is just a big joke on the movie industry. Um, that's really funny though. I don't know why that's popped back up, but you should definitely go listen to the Joe Rogan interview, or at least that clip about him talking about what it was like to do blackface.
Yeah, I'll have to try and do that. Yeah, I have no idea why it's come back up either. I'm sure it's probably like most things that one person posted that happened to have a lot of followers or something and kept spreading because I'm guaranteeing all these people commenting are actually taking the time to watch the movie. There's, oh my God, that is messed up. And all it takes to figure out that it's kind of like a spoof kind of thing is not even the start of the movie, but before the movie even starts, all their fake trailers for other movies. I don't know if you remember that and their what do they call it, the booty juice or whatever. All
Yeah,
those ridiculous. Yeah, obviously the whole thing's ridiculous.
yeah, man. Yeah, I don't get it. You gotta look at the whole picture of the whole film
Yeah,
and see it. But that's so funny. I don't know why You think maybe the Joe Rogan interview would make it blow up, but that's been months ago.
Yeah, that's why I
Um,
said I feel like I really jinxed it. I didn't even talk about it on social media or anything, and I don't think I had that much reach that I would. I just said to people I was watching with,
well,
but I was like, what the
I
fuck?
don't. I thought maybe with the Corona thing going on, this PC shit had calmed down, but it's only seemed to have been amplified. It looked like it calmed down for a few weeks, but with the Patriots kicker and then now this, it just seems like it's just amplified.
Yeah, I think that's because not that's not serious now, but I feel like it was so serious at the beginning that, and now it's starting to seem like it's loosened up. That's how long it took for people to be like, oh my god, the world's ending, to be like, oh wait, these really important issues like that aren't important at all. Like Danielle said, I didn't even look into this one, but she said it was one of the top things on Twitter was trending tonight was white privilege too. I was like, okay, the Robert Downey Jr. one was enough for me for now.
It's so ridiculous, man. I don't. It's the pendulum swings back and forth, and I'm very ready for it to swing the other way. It feels like we've been on this for 5 years, and I'm just done with it.
I feel you. Um, we talked a little bit when we were playing games last night, but the NFL draft. We only got to talk about the. Did we talk about the first round last time we
Yeah, I think
recorded?
it's just the
Yeah,
first round.
that's what I thought. So, how do you feel about the Browns?
I've already told you, but I feel really good about it. I think they made really good picks and have really fixed their issues they had with offense. I'm just slightly concerned with the defense with some losing some people, but um, I feel pretty good, man. How do you think the Browns did?
Um, I actually didn't think they did bad, and them and the Raiders are usually my two of my biggest enjoyments in the draft because I love seeing them fall apart. But and the Browns didn't even take a quarterback, which well, I was gonna say they shouldn't have, but I think they should because I don't think Baker Mayfield is very good. But in their eyes, they definitely should not because that's not what they're building towards. So taking a quarterback in their eyes would have been a mistake. But I'm just so used to them doing it
Well, I
that
think they have a good backup too, a good emergency plan.
yeah. Um, but I didn't think it was like amazing or anything, but I thought it was good, especially for how bad theirs can be that I've seen. Um, the Broncos, I'm happy with overall. I actually think they have one of the better drafts out of everybody, which I don't always think about them. And even with me thinking that, there's some things I would have done differently. Like they took a receiver in the first round, like I talked about, that I think is going to be real solid. But then they followed that up with another receiver, which I thought was odd because receiver was a need, but I feel like only for one. But the dude they took was from Penn State. His name's Hamler, and he actually had more all-purpose yards than Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley, I think, was a second pick overall. So maybe they just thought they couldn't pass that up. But like I said, I think their biggest need was offensive line. But I do think that's kind of the hardest thing to get in a draft because they take the longest to progress into top players. So I don't really blame them, even though that's I think their top need. I just don't know why they took two receivers in a row, and then they didn't take in some offensive linemen and cornerback and a linebacker, which I think is all positions they needed more of. And then they took a tight end, which I don't understand at all because I thought they were set at tight end, and Noah Fant seemed like he was coming to be one of the better tight ends in the league last year. But I know that he's from Missouri and played with Drew Lock, so I probably factored into a lot because especially quarterbacks rely on tight ends, and he's so young that I feel like that had to factor into it. But I still do think it's weird overall that they did that. But overall, I'm happy. I feel like the top um, ones that I think overall like teams. I think as far as how they drafted, I would say the Ravens number one. These are just how, like I said, just kind of like objectively not that I actually like these. Kind of don't like the Ravens at all, but I think they had the best draft, especially stealing J.K. Dobbins in the mid-second round. I think he could be as good as Ezekiel Elliott without the off-the-field issues. So getting him that late is fucking crazy to me. And they're already one of the best teams, so it sucks that they seem like they're just going to get better. And then I should have brought the list. I'm remembering players and talking about them just because of Ohio State, but that's not the only reason I thought they had a good draft. Because I know they got Malik Harrison in the late fourth round, and a lot of people thought he could have been a second round pick. So I think the Ravens definitely had the best draft. And then I'd actually say probably the Raiders had the second best draft, and a lot of people are making fun of theirs still, and I'm usually one of them. But I actually thought they had a good draft as much as I hate them, and I hope I'm wrong with them, obviously. And then I would say the Broncos, and then the Bengals would be my top four. And I think the Bengals were smart for taking Joe Burrow, even though, like I said, leading up to it, up until then, I didn't think they would. And then I thought I got some solid picks after that. I don't know if it'll show right away because he's so young, and I could see it going either way. I could see him blowing up and have a crazy year, or just kind of taking a while to come along.
Because they cut Dalton today, right?
Yeah, what's that was interesting because I don't know if the Patriots are finally going to sign him or if he's really just going to kind of phase out because I know people like to hate on him, and I think he has his issues. I think he definitely struggles in big games and playoffs, and a lot of people kind of Bengals fans tried to overlook that and covered it up just because they were Bengals fans and liked him in the regular season. And it's undeniable how talented he was and how good he was in the regular season, but that doesn't matter if you can't get once you're in a position past the regular season to do anything. If that's as far as you can get, that's not going to do much for you. But I feel like he obviously has a talent, so I'd be surprised if he just phased out. And I'm surprised the Bengals just didn't want his backup to teach Joe Burrow, but I'm guessing it's probably the contract money that he was getting to be a backup wasn't worth it. But I'd be surprised if nobody else signs him.
It would make sense for the Patriots though because they haven't done shit. I thought
Yeah,
they might have done something in the draft, but
yeah. I think the Patriots definitely should. I don't know if they will. They seem to trust this Stidham guy that they have, but that's why I didn't think they would take quarterback. I thought they should because they seem to trust him and think he's the next thing, and maybe he is. Hopefully he's not, but maybe he is. But I don't know. Maybe they won't take Andy Dalton either, and then there's only so many other teams that need a quarterback unless somebody is just gonna have him back up, and maybe eventually that's what he's gonna have to take his backup money because I don't know if anybody else will take him.
I didn't realize, man, he's played for 10 years.
Yeah,
It
and
didn't
he's
feel
still
that long.
yeah, and like I said, besides big games and playoffs, he's still putting up big numbers, especially for some of the talent that's been around him in Cincinnati. And like I said, part of the reason I can't root for the Bengals is the players they keep around. But even though he annoyed me because the big game struggles he has, I always thought he seemed like a genuinely good guy, and so hopefully he gets another chance. Um, and then I'd say the bottom teams. I probably only have two, but I feel like the Eagles and the Packers probably have the worst drafts. I don't know what the Packers
Really?
were. Yeah, I
What
feel
about the
like
Steelers?
I didn't think they had a good draft, but I feel like the Packers and Eagles just had no idea what they were doing. Or if they do, I don't know why they're doing it. Like taking quarterback when Aaron Rodgers is still playing, and the Eagles did the same kind of the same thing. They drafted a quarterback in the late first or early second round, and they just gave Carson Wentz a shit ton of money, and then they traded Nick Foles because that was the issue that they had two quarterbacks and that it was going to cause issues, and then they go for another high quarterback to have two quarterbacks. So I don't really get it. And then right after that, they interviewed the GM, and it's like he had to defend it. He said that they clearly do trust Carson Wentz because they just gave him all that money and they traded up to get him originally. But if you do, I don't know why you need to trade up so much to get a quarterback. And they said that they're a quarterback factory, which is not something that pro teams say. That's a college statement. That's a because what are you making them for? A factory to give to another team? It seems kind of weird.
Yeah, competitors.
Uh huh.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
We'll see though. Obviously, the draft is a hard thing to judge because the ones that are clear picks and the most obvious can be the biggest bust, and vice versa. Some of the people that we're not even talking about end up being the best players. So that's just my opinion based off of what I see and what I think now. But obviously, the later it goes on, the more obvious it'll be who had the best draft and who didn't, and what the brilliant picks were. If it was a great pick to trade up to get a quarterback for the Packers, it might end up being the best pick. It's just always so hard to tell.
Yeah, it's weird to think, man. Some of the best players are in the history of football have been can be pretty low picks
Yeah,
or pretty yeah would be low or high. How would you phrase that?
low. Yeah.
I don't know, but yeah.
Um, then we talked about last week. The NHL has put out more statements about what they might do with the upcoming season. I told you that parts of it was just rumors, like the four cities they were talking about, and Raleigh being our city. But I guess the NHL has officially said that they opened it up to all the cities, and that they narrowed it down. Well, they opened it to all the cities to give their pitches of why they should, and then they narrowed it down to 11. And I guess Columbus is one of them.
Oh
So,
wow.
which I was gonna say last week, but I didn't know if that sounded like too much of a homer because it's actually ironic I'm wearing a Blue Jacket shirt right now. I didn't think about it till I was looking up at the screen. But I feel like Columbus makes way more sense than Raleigh. I think it's more centralized for the teams that would be in our division. We have a newer arena, and I think something that's going to have to be big is having a practice facility. And most teams have practice facilities outside the arena, and we have one attached to ours. And then aside from that, if they're going to bring like all six teams or however many they're going to do it here, then you could even expand it, not for the actual games, but practices. We have two chillers around here, which are like minor league rinks pretty much. So I feel like Columbus makes way more sense for it. And I am surprised.
Well, where's the second one? Easton.
Yeah, Easton and Dublin.
Okay. What are the Buckeyes? The Buckeyes have something too, I bet.
Yeah, well, they probably do have a practice facility. I'm not sure what it is, but they have the Schottenstein Center. So yeah, you could literally use a whole nother arena if you wanted to. And the same company that owns Nationwide Arena owns the Schottenstein Center. So yeah, you could even do both of them if you wanted to.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
And
wow. I didn't think about that.
yeah, I am surprised. I would think Columbus is actually a better choice than even this one, but I think this one makes more sense than Raleigh. I'm surprised the NHL wouldn't prioritize it more, being Pittsburgh, because they have a even newer arena than us. I feel like it makes more sense than Raleigh, and they clearly fucking love Pittsburgh. So I can't believe that that's not high on their list, and it might be, but I'm saying that the fact that Raleigh came up before that seems kind of odd.
It kind of makes me sad though that we can't get tickets.
Yeah, they still haven't said how that'd be, but I'm guessing it's gonna be no fans. But I don't know. There's a lot of different stuff, and this is all officially from the NHL, so it sounds like they're kind of just throwing out ideas too. They said that there might be a 24 team playoff format, which there's I think 30 teams in the league, so I'm not really sure what that means, and that would kind of suck for the Blue Jackets because they're already much higher than that. So you'd let in a lot of other teams that weren't going to be in it. But then they're also talking about playing out the regular season. So I don't know why you'd make a 24 game or 24 team format, because I feel like the only reason you do that is because you're not going to play the regular season. You don't want to screw teams over. So I don't know. Maybe they're talking about doing one or the other. And then they're talking about, like I said, doing the season in June or July. And I said they haven't said anything, but I would assume that the season's going to start on time after that, the next season. But they said the plan is to have it start in December, and normally it starts in late October or late September. But the reason I assume they would start on time, I feel like the more you do that, the more you're just going to keep pushing everything back, unless
Yep.
because I feel like if you do next season in December, it's going to end later than it ever has. So then the next season's probably going to have to start later. I feel like it makes more sense just to, even though it's maybe suck, to have a more compressed schedule and not have things right for 1 year and then be back to normal, opposed to just every year being like, all right, how are we going to do it this year now?
I kind of like. I don't know if you plan on talking about it, but I've been trying to follow baseball. I kind of like the
Yeah.
way that they're planning on doing stuff.
Um, the last thing I heard seemed like it got rejected. You're talking about putting it all in like all in Arizona and Texas, and is that what you're talking about?
It's like they do. Was it divisions? Three divisions.
Oh yeah,
kind of like East, Mid Coast, or Midwest, Jesus, and then West Coast. Is that
Yeah,
what you're talking about?
yeah, I've heard that, and I like it in a way because it'd be different, but at the same time, I feel like it'd be so weird because like the whole joke for people that don't know sports is like when people talk about how like the Broncos and the Bengals go Super Bowl together, but it can literally never happen because they're in the same conference. I feel like that would ruin it. The Reds and Indians could always go to a World Series because they were in different conferences, and in that scenario, they couldn't because they'd be in the same division. I feel like that just
Yeah.
makes things it'd be interesting, but at the same time, I think very weird. And I don't know if I'd like that overall.
I think they make more sense too,
Yeah,
because they seem similar. Like you said, it's odd that they're same division or whatever. That they're not in the same division.
yeah,
So I don't know. And I have very such a small amount of knowledge on baseball, but I thought it made more sense just to the way they had divvied it up. So that's been
yeah.
canceled.
No,
Denied.
that's a newer idea. The idea they had was to do the divisions like normal, but then all the teams would go to I think Arizona, Texas, and maybe Florida, and then play in those stadiums with no fans in it and just play the games like that. But now they're talking about doing in the home stadiums with just different
Yeah.
alignments. And that's
Yep.
probably the reason that everybody would be closer to each other is why they would do that. But
Yeah. Less traveling.
yeah, and I guess if it was for a year, maybe that'd be interesting. But after that, I'd want it to go back to normal because I feel like, but even a year is kind of weird because like the history books you look at and the like teams that would never be able to play in the World Series are playing against each other. And then going forward, you're about, wait, how they play against each other? I feel like it just make everything so weird.
That's why I feel like everything after this, sports wise, is going to be a little asterisk.
Yeah.
Oh, this person won the World Series, but this was the Corona year. They won the Stanley Cup, but this was the Corona year.
Yeah. The NHL also put out an official statement sent to every team that um, in mid May, I think, I know it's May, I think mid May, that teams are allowed to come back and practice in their practice facilities if that state has lifted restrictions. So I feel like it's actually progressing towards it happening instead of just kind of random talk here and there, which is crazy but exciting.
Yeah, man, I'm ready to. I was talking to person fostering the dog that we chose is actually my girlfriend's brother, and I was talking to him today about he's crazy into sports, especially baseball, like a ridiculous amount, like even like minor league players and just the knowledge he has on it's ridiculous, and he feels he's like he's going through withdrawals.
Uh huh.
He said, and it's just, like I'm into sports, but I can't imagine people that this is like you or her brother. There's like it's a big thing. It's exciting for it to come back for sure.
No, that's definitely yeah. It literally feels like something's lost. It's so weird. I told you when Ryan asked me, or I asked him what he missed most, and he's like, I don't know. I was like, he's like nothing really. And I was like, I mean, for me, I definitely miss like just the normal things like being able to hang out with you guys, just everyday things. But as far as like if you're talking about like an activity or like something that you enjoy, there's no as much as I like movies and much as I was talking about that. There's no competition between that and having sports. It just feels like because not just sports, I feel like creates so much conversation and so much other things around it that it feels like so much more is missing than just being able to watch the games.
Most definitely.
And I actually meant to talk about at the beginning of the episode when I talked about this being episode 12, and it kind of feeds into this, is why I'm saying this isn't just completely random. That I didn't even talk about in episode 10 or 11. I can't believe that we're already into double digits because this is where it feeds into it. I feel like on one hand, we're already in double digits, and it feels like we haven't been doing this that long, so it's crazy that we're already there. But on the other hand, looking back to single digits like episode one feels like a fucking lifetime ago, and because it was like right this was happening, but nothing was really happening with it, and it feels like a lifetime ago. And I feel like it's the same way with sports that it feels like so long ago now. Like right before that was when I did the trifecta that I was telling you about, and I went to all three games, and it was like the highest sports could get for me, and it was the best time. And then just going to no sports after that, and that trifecta feeling that feels like a fucking lifetime ago now. And it's so crazy.
Yeah, man, I can't. You got. That's a good way to go out, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Um, and it's weird. You know the machine the lacrosse team we had here. It kind of feels like that, but amplified. And I keep thinking, because I work right by their stadium, I'm like, man, I wish the machine were back. And I'm like, oh shit, man, I wish all sports were back. I mean, I want them to be back. It
Yeah,
was kind of just like reliving the machine, but with every single sport and team. And then
that's weird, man.
kind of depressed because once they come back, the machine still won't come back. Um, I am kind of hoping that the whole fucking Major League Lacrosse doesn't come back, though. I'd hate it for all the good people that are in it and all the players that are just trying to get by. But for the fucking shitheads like the commissioner, it'd be fucking awesome to see the league get destroyed.
Yeah, that would be some silver lining for sure.
Yeah.
Did you
But
see? Well, technically it's ESPN, but technically would be Disney was trying to buy possibly the rumors that they'd buy the WWE.
no.
Yeah, I saw some rumors floating around on some kayfabe wrestling Facebook groups,
Huh.
which kind of makes sense. Um, I kind of worry that they'll go even more PG
Yeah.
and ruin it more.
Yeah.
But I think with the XFL and with this, I think McMahon's hurting a little bit more than what he's letting on.
Yeah, it could be. Um, Completely unrelated and just kind of a random thing. But on my phone, I was amazed the other day. You might laugh at me, but there's a button for Dolby Atmos, and I turned it on when I was using Bluetooth, and it sounds like 100 times better. And I did not know that was a thing, and I thought I should share and maybe get laughed at, but I thought it was awesome.
Nice, man. I didn't. Sometimes I turn on Bigsby. I don't know what that is, but it comes on.
Uh,
But I didn't know phones had Dolby Atmos. What phone do you have?
the S8, so kind of older now, so unless
Oh,
they
I
got
might have
rid
to
of
look
it.
at my phone see if it has it.
Yeah, it's just a button if you bring down like the whatever you call it, the navigation bar or whatever. It's there and you press it and it won't let you use it unless you're using Bluetooth or headphones. But it just makes the sound quality so much better and the bass a lot better. So yeah,
Huh?
I didn't even know his name, but I thought it was kind of cool.
I
But
didn't
yeah,
know that was a thing.
I press Bigsby all the time by accident, and I'm sure you know generally what it is, just a voice assistant like Google Assistant or Siri or whatever. But yeah, I just don't really use it.
Yeah, thing is, I don't remember. Is it IBM? I don't know
Uh,
whose that is.
I'm
Whose
not
that
sure.
is.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, no, I thought Samsung just owned it, but
Maybe they do. I don't see. I'm just kind of talking on my ass now, but I thought that was the name of whatever the IBM supercomputer is.
okay.
I forget what that's name is, but I'm clueless. I didn't know that. I have to look at Dolby Atmos. I've heard of that before. Was it which theater chain uses that? Is that AMC?
Yeah, and obviously it doesn't make that kind of difference, but yeah, me and Danielle go out of our way to try and get Dolby tickets because you can fucking tell right away, and it's not like I said, it's not that kind of difference on the phone, but it was kind of cool finding something like that and not knowing it was there and hearing the sound like
Wow.
instantly amplify, and you can it's just a toggle you can turn it on and off, so you can order hear the difference when I turn it off. I'm like, oh, this doesn't sound as good anymore now.
You have like a high tech car though, right?
Yeah, so I'm
I
not.
right now I have an aux cord that only works on the left side of my car.
Yeah, it might
My
not
early
make.
2000s Honda, so I don't think it would do too much for me.
Yeah, whenever all this shit's back to normal and you're in the car, just remind me to show you. It's not like I said, it's not like the world difference, not like a theater where if you're in a normal theater and go to that, you're holy shit. But you're like, oh yeah, it sounds better. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, man.
Um, so a couple weeks ago, I was gonna ask you this, and I already figured it out. But did you know how they're doing this Final Fantasy VII remake release? I know the first one's already out, but did you realize their intentions with this?
It's in portions, right?
Yeah, and I knew it was in portions, but what I was gonna ask, and now I know, I didn't know if that meant it was like DLC releases, like they were just gonna add on, or if it was gonna be separate games. And it is gonna be separate games. And have you heard how fucking nuts their schedule is for it?
No, I haven't.
So seven, the remake, that alone is so crazy. It's a remake in its three parts, but I was actually interested in it, and I've never been a Final Fantasy fan, but this alone makes me maybe not even want to play it. Um, Seven just released, and it's still not even out on Xbox. They have it exclusive for a year, so I feel like they have to still be working on the Xbox unless it's just sitting there, the Xbox version. So I feel like that's going to take up some time. But then it's not a DLC add-on, and it's a fully different game for part two that you're supposed to buy, and they're projecting the earliest 2023 for part two. And like I said, I'm guessing
Gosh.
that's projection and probably later than that because I feel like they have to be working on the port to the Xbox, which is going to extend time. And then that doesn't even bring in the factor of the third game, which I would guess imagine has to be at least 2026, 2027. And then the fact that all these games are $60 on top of that. So you're waiting almost a decade and spending almost the price of a console. And we're going to be to the probably the next generation if there is another generation by the time this series for a remake is done.
That's weird, dude. I don't think that's necessary, and that's just some weird shit going on. I
Yeah, I was
knew it was
think
in portions, but I thought it'd be months. Like, oh, in like 8 months we'll do this one.
yeah, that's what I thought, or even DLC add-ons. But I was like, I don't know, maybe they're trying to get some extra money, and maybe like if you already own the game, you can buy the next part for cheaper or something. But the fact that they're all $60 and that they're that far apart is fucking crazy to me. I can't think of any other game that can not only just get away with it, but people praise it and just not even really talk about the fact that they spent $60 on a game that is a remake and they're not getting the next part for maybe closest 3 years, but probably farther away.
Yeah, that's insanity. That's about as bad as Kingdom Hearts naming.
um, Anything else random you want to talk about, Guy, before we get into the normal show? I feel like we already went on for a while, but I'm okay with this.
No, nothing
No?
I can think of.
All right. Um, any corrections, questions, or feedbacks, Guy? Feedback? I always say feedbacks because all these S's before.
Nope, nothing I could see or hear.
I gotcha. I actually got a few things this time.
Oh,
Um, I some are me, some are you. I think this is actually on the version we didn't record either, but we were talking about Predator and debating whether it's a physical version or not. Um, I looked it up. There is a physical version, whether it's out yet or not. I think it's out, but it's definitely coming out if it's not. But it's gonna be a full $60 game. I don't know if I don't
that
think
was
the down.
40.
The link I saw on GameStop said 60 for PS4.
Really?
Yeah, that's what caught me off guard because I thought it was cheaper. I don't know if maybe get extra stuff, and that's why the physical was more. Because I didn't think the download was that much. But there definitely is a physical version. I told you I didn't think there was. And then you were talking about Gears Tactics, and I said how I thought it was PC only, and you said it was on Xbox. You looked it up. It is,
Mm-hmm.
I guess, not technically wrong because I guess they're planning on bringing it to Xbox, but it released on the 28th, and it is PC only right now.
Oh,
And
damn.
yeah, and if you look at it, it's all mouse and keyboard, which because it's PC, but I don't know how well it translates to a controller. So I wonder if it'll end up coming to controller, if they'll just kind of remap everything, or let it come to Xbox, but tell you that you had to have a mouse and keyboard for it.
I know XCOM, which is it's definitely a huge ripoff of
Yeah,
XCOM. Well, the same genre. I hate to say ripoff, but same style game. And I know XCOM translated pretty well from PC to Xbox, I believe.
Yeah.
So maybe they'll do something similar to whatever they've done.
I don't know if you've seen it's been getting really good reviews and
Really?
yeah. I don't know if there is controller support at all. Everything I saw was mouse and keyboard, so I don't even know if I could play it like that. But I was interested in trying it. I'm not sure if it'll really be actually be my style of game. I just love Gears so much. And the reviews I saw said that he finished it in 35 hours. I was like, oh fuck, I don't know if I don't even know
Holy
if this is my
shit.
style of game, let alone finishing 35 hours.
You
Especially
play
with
the whole
mouse and
series of
keyboard.
Gears in that time.
Yeah. um, then a couple other things in my solo segment, I was talking about George Bush and Ellen had a game together. And I thought it was MLB, but I even said I wasn't sure. But Danielle pointed out it was an NFL game, the Cowboys that they were at. And then the last thing,
Wait, what?
you probably didn't watch the solo segment. I don't blame you. I was talking about.
I thought it was all Corona stuff. What the hell? I feel like like I just had a stroke. He just threw up like it's like a word salad at me.
I hate you. A word
I don't. You're
salad.
just like Michael Jordan and Donald Trump, French toast. I was just like, what? I need some details on this. What happened?
I was talking about. I don't know if you heard about what happened when Ellen and George Bush were at. I couldn't remember what game, but it was a Cowboys game together, and
Oh,
she got destroyed for being with him, and she defended it.
oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and she defended it because she's like, yeah, he's my friend. I don't. We have different beliefs, and I don't believe a lot of things he does. But I don't even like Ellen, but people destroyed her for it, and that was the whole point she was trying to make is that that's not how you're supposed to be with people, even if you disagree with them. That you can still be friends and respect each other, and then people defeated her on it. The whole point she was trying to make by destroying her because of it.
You know where my mind went for some reason?
What's that?
Because you're talking about video games, and I thought you meant like George Bush and Ellen DeGeneres got together and made a video game together, and it was sports related, and you couldn't remember what sport they had made the video game on, and I was it's like, you're fucking kidding me.
I'd buy
And
that.
I was like, I gotta see this. What is this?
um, then the last thing isn't really um, it's not really our correction and kind of goes, I guess, more news. But we talked a few weeks ago about PlayStation. It might even been a solo episode. The PlayStation backwards compatibility, where no, it was us. It was one of our last ones together, I think. Where their backwards compatibility, they said it'd be the some of the top PlayStation games will be backwards compatible. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Did
like
you see?
100 or something.
Yeah, some of PlayStation top 100 games. That's what they said. But do you see they clarified now and said that people took it the wrong way, and that there'll be over 4,000, I think, games that are backwards compatible. Maybe 400, because I think 4,000 is far too many. Um, but yeah, they said that. So it sounds like majority of it will be backwards compatible, and they played it off like everybody misunderstood it, even though they quoted themselves by saying some of the top 100 games.
Yeah, I don't get how I could, unless something's lost in translation. I don't know, but that seemed pretty cut and dry.
Yeah. Um, and then, do you got any news this week, guy? Before I keep going.
No, my big one was just the AMC thing. I think the biggest, I don't know if it's technically news, man, but it looks like Predator's kind of getting destroyed in their views.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, it's not, I mean, it's not destroyed like Colonial Marines destroyed, but it's kind of hovering in mediocrity or pile of shit.
Huh. That sucks because I said it seemed really solid from what I saw, and the first couple of reviews I saw were real high on it, but that wasn't nothing was from official like sites yet. They're all just random YouTubers. 'Cause I couldn't find anything from like the top websites or people I knew yet, so I just had to look at some random videos on YouTube.
Oh, did you see this too? It kind of blew my mind. It's also available on the Epic Store on PC.
Um, oh yeah, That's I don't know why I had a brain fart there, but yeah, I think I mentioned that a couple episodes. I didn't know that either. I kept calling it exclusive. I guess it is exclusive to console, but yeah, it's on Epic Store.
Um, so I wanted to look it up again just to because I was looking at early IMDb's. That's what I was doing here. Or Metacritic. It's right now it's sitting at a 57. That's out of 100.
Yeah, yeah, it's not.
And just to like, I think a good reference for bottom tier, like can't get any shittier reviews, is your Colonial Marines. Kind of curious what that's sitting at on Metacritic. Just a reference point to compare the two. That's sitting at a 45. So
Hmm.
it's not too far off from being actual garbage.
Well, that's no good. I was so excited for it.
Yeah, I don't know. I have to look into more into why it's getting such low reviews, but I feel bad for that. Do you ever see some of the other games they've worked on?
I don't think so.
Let me pull that. I should have had that prepared, but I didn't think about it. I didn't think about talking about it.
Oh no, you're good.
Um,
I could actually say while you're trying to look that up. I went straight into
yeah.
news, and I'm just a terrible host because I didn't actually start on news. And I asked you if you had any news before we moved on. But so I guess I could say if you have any corrections, questions, or feedback, you can send it to currentbackloggers@gmail.com, and then we could move on to the actual news. Since I said don't know how to host apparently. There's some feedback for you.
So they worked on Dead Alliance, which that was a pretty it seemed like a pretty big hit. Or right, that was decent
I
in
think so.
between Friday the 13th and Predator. I felt like that was well regarded.
Yeah, I thought
I have
so.
to go and look. But they did supported development on Crisis 3, Evolve, and Sonic Boom. And it looks like they're doing supportive development on Star Citizen, which
Hmm.
is that's weird to think about. Star Citizen, that's the one that has got a huge Kickstarter behind it.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I don't understand how their team split if they're working on Star Citizen, what aspect of Star Citizen, or I don't know. Star Citizen's gonna be one of those games where I don't think it's ever actually gonna come out.
I
Yeah, it's weird to think about all the weird shit they've worked on.
gotcha. So the news I got this week. Did you see The Last of Us 2 leak?
I didn't. I'm trying to stay away from it. So I've been freaking out.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm trying to stay away from it too. That's part of why I was bringing it up, just to warn anybody that to stay away from any Last of Us 2 leaks if you don't want to know what's happening. Surprisingly, I've stayed completely away from it, but yeah, I heard that literally everything's out there, that the entire story and who might die and who doesn't, and just literally everything that happens in the game that is out there. And they said that the reason it got out there was a developer that was pissed off about not getting paid what he should have, or incentives, or not getting treated right, which I completely get if somebody's pissed about that kind of stuff, if they actually weren't treated right. And there's so many ways that you could be take it out on people, but I feel like that's literally the worst way you could do it because you're not taking out on the people that are at like the highest that are probably controlling that. You're taking out on all the coworkers and everybody that you worked with every day and probably spent like 3 years of their life just fucking grinding over and losing all their sleep and time with their family and everything. And just for to be able to fuck all of them over makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, you're not helping yourself at all because now future jobs are gonna be like, what is he gonna do? Have they found the person? Do they know who's done it?
I don't think so. Well,
So
as far
once
as
that's
I know, they
found out,
haven't.
you're gonna be you're a villain right now.
Yeah, I
That's
feel
a
like,
terrible way to get people on your side.
yeah, I'm sure even though if it's not out there, I'm sure Naughty Dog or Sony knows because I'm sure only so many people that have left from there with the game not even being out yet, and that they could narrow down somebody that was upset or whatever and figure out pretty easily. And yeah, I just feel like that's literally the worst way you can handle it. I feel like me and you have both had issues at jobs and have talked about how many funny things you could do or all the wrong things. But that's what we always said, even at fucking like minimal jobs compared to this. All the ideas were thought of. Well, that's not. It'd be funny, but we're kind of screwing over the wrong people and people we work with, and that wouldn't actually be funny and just kind of fuck everybody over to not affect the people that we're actually mad at. So I don't see how somebody, especially in that field where they spend 3 years of their lives working on something, doesn't understand that.
It's nuts. And I can't understand people that would actively be like, yeah, let me look at this. I saw Twitter freaking out and I just got off. I was like, I can't do this.
Yeah, so if you want to play Last of Us 2, make sure you stay away from all that shit. Um, they did announce a new release date, I don't know if you saw, of June 19th. So it's actually only less than a month getting pushed back, which it sucks they got pushed back, but when they push it back in the way they did, I was like, oh god, this thing might just get pushed back for a long ass time the way they're wording this. So the fact that it was only less than a month, I feel like it's not bad and makes me a lot more excited for it because I was excited, but then once they did that, I just kind of killed the mood. I was like, oh god, this thing could just fucking go on and on before it comes out. But yeah, they announced the new release date for that, and then they pushed back Ghost of Tsushima from June 26th to July 19th, which obviously makes sense because that'd have those games coming out within like a week of each other. So it makes complete sense moving that back. Um, and then we didn't talk about last week, so I said we usually only talk about stuff that kind of interests us. But now I wish we would have. I told you how the WWE game that they put out every year, they canceled the, I think 2021 version is what it would be of it. Did you see they announced a new WWE game in place of that?
No, I have not.
It's called WWE Battlegrounds. And judging by the cover, it looks really cartoonish and actually makes. I can't remember the last time I tried to even be interested in a wrestling game, but at least by the cover, it looks like a lot more arcadey and like the old style wrestling games, which I was obsessed with. So I'm kind of curious what this one will be like.
That's really odd. What was the one? Um, there was a really good one WWE game. It was like the PS3, Xbox 360 generation. I think it was called like Superstars. Do you remember that one?
I didn't play. I feel like I remember people talking about it at the time though. The one that I played and the last ones I remember playing is like 64. I was obsessed with them, but past 64 and PlayStation, I don't think I did anything.
Um, and there was a PS2 one where it's the name almost sounds similar like this, where it's with cart. It's almost like a kart racer. Do you remember that one?
I don't think I do.
God, what was the? Oh man, Crush Hour. I just had to Google it.
Huh. Yeah, I don't remember that.
PS2 game, and then All Stars, WWE All Stars was the name
Oh,
of
okay.
the what Battlegrounds is kind of looking like, man. That's exciting, man, because I my nephew was super into All Stars, and that's what kind of got me started on it
Uh,
when he was little, and it was pretty decent. Like I had fun with it. So that's exciting. I wonder how that relates to the people that made All Stars.
yeah, I'm not sure.
I need to do some more research now.
um,
Oh,
oh, before we go into gaming pickups, just kind of lead into. Do you have any updates on your eBay fiasco? You said you wanted that to be an ongoing thing.
yeah, I feel terrible, man. It's it was delivered and everything seems normal. I don't understand why it was given to a distribution center that was 3 hours away, and then some poor mail guy, I'm guessing, had to drive that. I don't know. I don't know how it got there from 3.5 hours away from him, or if something was weird was going on. He got it late too because of some sort of slowdown,
Well,
but it arrived normally and no issues. I mean, he's got 30 days though to so we can. Who knows? He might say like, "Hey, this never arrived," or
yeah.
tracking that it's arrived, but so we'll see. And then immediately after that, I sold an instrument that I found at a Goodwill to a lady, and she was super kind and super sweet. And she's like, I haven't played this since the '60s and reminds me of my sister. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is It was like karma. It was the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen. So it's actually going pretty decent. Uh, yeah. So eBay's great still. Knock on
Um,
wood.
yeah. So, any gaming pickups for you this week, guy?
Yeah. Um, do you remember what you asked me to do last
Um,
week?
I do. That was another thing that I had marked on here because that was on our first recording, and then I didn't.
Was it on the second?
Yeah, so then we didn't talk about it. So I was like, oh shit.
Oh.
But
Yeah. So I played Edith Finch. I did it one sitting.
oh,
Yep.
um,
It was powerful. I don't know how else to describe it.
well, let me interrupt
It
you
sounds
there.
so
I
bad.
think, no, I think you misunderstand what gaming pickups mean because last week you told me ice cream sandwiches, and this week you told me you played Edith
But
Finch.
it's leading into it. Because
Oh,
then I got
I
on
was being a smart
eBay
ass.
and I was like, I need a physical copy of this. I know there wasn't a physical for Xbox. So my next option is a website released it for the PS4. But of course, it was one of those limited run game things. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to throw this out there on eBay and see if the guy takes it. Um, I don't know how much it was on the website. I'm thinking like probably $40 after shipping.
Hmm.
But it goes on. Let me check price charting right now. The physical for Edith Finch. Um, let's see what the physical goes for. Uh, it's looking like probably right around 70. So it's like, let me throw 70 out there. It's kind of weird and inconsistent, and because it really can't decide what loose and complete. But it says loose is $60, and then complete 61, which I know is not accurate. But it seemed like it was going for right around 70,
Hmm.
and sealed was like over 100. So I threw out 70 just to see what the guy, and he took it, and it was immediately like, oh my god, did I really just do that? And I didn't. You weren't supposed to accept that. But so it's kind of a goof. Or it was bidding. It was bidding. I just like, yeah, bid it up to 70, and then we're done. It'll definitely go way for way more than that, and it didn't. So I now will have a physical Edith Finch soon.
Nice. Um,
Um, but yeah, man, I really really enjoyed it. So that was my pick that up. We could talk more about it after pickups, but I think that honestly, now I'm thinking about it, that might be my only pickup.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's my only pickup. It hasn't arrived yet.
Okay. I don't have any this week either. But yeah, it's funny you say that because I was gonna say I don't really care about physical, but I kind of do. But I do less so than you. But even being that way, that was one of those games like shit. I kind of want this, and even without just the physical um, game, I was like, man, I want something of this. I want a T-shirt. I want something, but it's such a small scale game that there's nothing really for it. I was like, I can't really find anything to the
So you
point
just
where
bought a Finch?
no, the point
Do you have a
where
bird?
I was considering if a tattoo would be cool. Um, but I
There
don't
you
know.
go.
I don't know if I'll go that far. I've told you I've always thought about tattoos, but I want to know for sure. Um, but we can just get into what you've been playing. So, yeah, Edith Finch. I was being a smart ass. I definitely thought you misheard me with gaming pickups, and you just thought we were going on what you've been playing. So now I feel like an asshole. I was like, this is perfect thing
Well, I
to.
thought it'd be kind of weird if I was like, yeah, I bought it.
um, no, I think powerful is a perfect way to describe it, and I know me and you mess around a lot, and I know we don't really talk like that, and that's not how we describe games. But yeah, that's why it's what you need to play. There's literally nothing I've ever played like that before. I It's so crazy that game is just something else.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just like, it's kind of creepy too, because after I was done, I kind of went to the bathroom, and you're kind of in that shell shock, like trying to process it, and you're in that mood. And my bathroom has a window, and I pulled back the curtain, and I thought it was a finch, but I googled it. It was a little tiny bird sitting out there, like picking in the mulch, and my window is right by it's kind of in the basement. It is the basement, and so when I open it, the ground is right there. And I was like, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Like, dude, why is there a finch out here? But I looked it up. It was like a sparrow or some
Yeah.
other dumbass bird.
Oh, that's weird
Um,
because their giant sparrow is the developer.
oh God, don't tell me stuff like that, dude. It kind of creeped me out. And then I got on Facebook, and one of my old middle school teachers that I liked a lot, so we're friends on there. I was like, "Oh, check out this cool bird I found," and I meant to look at what it wasn't a sparrow, but it looked very similar, like the little red on there,
Hmm.
or a finch. Sorry, finch. Is it red? Red, right in the game, little like red feather area.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but it looks similar to that bird. I was like, God damn, I can't escape this bird. Um, but yeah, man, it put me in a weird headspace, and it didn't answer a lot of things, which is kind of okay. That's fine when stuff does that. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to do that. Um, I don't know. Do you want to get into spoilers?
Yeah, we can do that. So, spoiler warning for everybody, especially the people I told to play this, and that includes you, Danielle. Just skip past this because this game's ruined
Yeah,
if you spoil everything. I feel like even talking about like gameplay, I told you that's why I was worried about telling you too much. I feel like even that kind of spoils the game because you don't expect
yeah.
these things to be happening. So,
So just maybe you could do something like mute the video, and then when Casey flexes his muscles really hard, that's when you know to
that
come back and
works.
listen. But yeah, what do you think the craziest story was for you out of her family members?
Um, just not like the most entertaining or most fun, just like the storytelling. You mean was most crazy?
Yeah, it's kind of the both for the one I like. The one I'm thinking of is it's kind of both for me.
Yeah, 'cause I think the one I enjoyed the most and thought was the coolest was the Halloween one, especially the fact that they had the Halloween theme song in there. I thought that was fucking awesome. I don't know, is that like public use or did they actually pay to get that song in there?
They had to pay it because
That's crazy.
that's his music.
John Carpenter.
John Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought, and you can tell how not as an insult because it's fucking impressive, but how low budget that game is. So I don't know how they got that. I thought that was kind of cool. Um, damn, the most impactful one. I feel like I want to play it again, but a lot of it has stuck with me. I'd feel like probably the one where the dude ends up killing himself or getting killed, and he's going through like the fish factory,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think that one for me.
Yeah, the most powerful and my favorite mechanics were that one.
Was it?
Um, it kind of the Halloween one kind of fucked me up because I started playing it after Renee left for work, and it was just me here at the
Uh huh.
house, and it's kind of getting dark outside, and I turned off all the lights, and I put this game in, and it reminded me of Mist. And Mist, when I was a little kid, scared the shit out of me because it's just this empty, eerie world, and that's kind
Hmm.
of the vibe I got from this. And it kind of took me back to that mentality, and I didn't like it. And then it takes me to that fucking. My babysitter when I was a little kid used to watch Tales from the Crypt,
Oh yeah. Uh
and
huh.
I hated it because it scared the shit out of me as a kid. Um, but it seemed like my parents loved that TV show, so they'd watch it. And my dad had the Crypt Creepers like bust that he would hide around the house to scare me sometimes as a Halloween decoration.
Hmm.
And so of course that segment was a total knockoff of Tales from the Crypt too.
Oh yeah.
And it was really fucking scary, and I was already scared by the game, so that whole segment just scared the shit out of me. And it was kind of cheesy, supposed to be
Yeah. Oh
cheesy, and it
yeah.
just scared me way too much, like a little child.
Yeah.
So
No.
I didn't like that one as much.
Huh. Yeah. That was definitely a rip off of that, and I used to love Tales from the Crypt.
Did
So.
you really? You were one of those
Oh yeah.
monsters?
I fucking loved it. The Crypt Keeper was so great, and yes, the narrator in that story was definitely trying to be the Crypt Keeper, and yeah, it made me like it even more. And then the Halloween theme went so well with it, and there wasn't a story that I actually didn't like. There's ones that I liked to different degrees, but there wasn't any story I was like, oh, they shouldn't have done that one. That was dumb. I feel like maybe the worst one, if I had to pick, was um, the what do you call it? Not umbrella. What the hell am I thinking here? the thing you fly around. Why am I blanking on its name?
Oh, the
The
kite.
kite. Yeah, a kite. I think that was probably the worst, but I didn't think there was any. I was like, oh man, they should have cut this out. And that's my favorite part is that everybody seems to have a favorite story, and mine and yours lined up kind of surprisingly, but most people have different ones I've talked to. And I feel like all the stories, like I said, when I first started, I was like, oh, it's a walking simulator. I played these aren't that great. And then I went to that first story where she becomes an animal. I was like, this shit is so weird. And I was like, okay, so this just gonna be the next story goes into different animals. This will get pretty fucking old. And then you go into the next story, and I can't remember what the next one is, but it's completely different gameplay. And I was like, holy shit, how do there's just different styles of games in all these.
Oh, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. What do you think? Because that's the only one where they really leave it open to what that little girl died from. What do you think she died from?
Um, I don't know. I know a lot of people think she died from the food, like it was bad food that she ate, or the berries.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they're implying that she was ignored for so long that she literally just like starved to death and she was left alone.
Yeah, I think she poisoned herself.
I think so.
Yeah.
I could see
And
it.
the sealing off of rooms too, they really don't it's I just love how open-ended shit is. It's
Yeah,
kind of nice that stuff's not force-fed to you.
yeah. It's actually not a huge issue, and it. I love the game so much it didn't ruin it. But the ending I thought was actually probably the weakest part of it. I don't know. Maybe you felt differently. I felt like there's a good chance that she was going to be reading that story to her kid and that she was gone too. So I was like, ah, that wasn't too crazy to me for especially how crazy this rest of the story's been. That I kind of thought that might have happened or might be
Well,
the
I tell you,
outcome of it.
I realized she was pregnant before that, and I'll tell you how. I was so impressed with how I'll stand up. So when the characters look down, you could see their bellies, or you could see so much detail, even better than most shooters.
Yeah.
And you look down, dude. I was like, oh my god, they gave her the biggest gut. Like she's not fat. Why does she have this like? She was like literally like just walking around, and it looks so ridiculous because her stomach didn't move. So
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I'd walk around the environment, and just run my gut into stuff, just boom, like it's funny. I was like, I was like, dude, this is kind of ruining it for me because it's like this looks terrible. Why did they give her this big gut? And then a few minutes later, I was like, oh my fucking god, is she pregnant? And then she was just like, this is so hard to do at 20 weeks. And I was like, oh, I fucking knew it.
Huh. Yeah. I didn't. I don't know if I ever looked down completely because I'm sure I did, but I just don't know if I didn't think about it. Because I
Yeah,
don't know. There wasn't a moment that stuck out for me. I was like, oh man, I think she's pregnant. So that's why I don't think the ending impacted me. And I kind of thought it because I was like, she's reading this whole story. So I feel like there's a reason she's reading it like this. I feel like somebody else is reading it. I feel like the most likely person would be her kid. So I was like, I feel like that's probably what this is going to be. That's her kid. But like I said, it didn't ruin it for me. A lot of times endings do affect the whole process. But I didn't think it was. I did. They told it well. I just wasn't surprised by it, and the fact that there were so many things that I was surprised throughout the rest of the game. I was like, those surprises were more than enough. I didn't need some like crazy twist at the end.
yeah. I when you replay it, I strongly recommend because every character you look down, you could see. Um, and usually games don't do that.
Yeah, yeah. Usually
You
it's
can
just
see
nothing.
everybody's outfits and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna replay. Especially, I got all the achievements on Xbox, but I'll probably play it on PlayStation. Get all the trophies on there. Did you get all the achievements?
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. Remember when I turned on my
Oops.
computer and I was like, "Whoa, what the
Uh huh.
hell?" So I played through the game and it only gave me two achievements. And I read the achievements and I was like, "I did this stuff."
Huh.
And at midnight, for some reason tonight, when I got on, here I can tell you the time at 12:12 a.m. Casey, random ass creepy time. This fucking game, I swear to God, just wants to creep me out. They all popped.
Really?
Yeah, it scared the shit out of me because I was like, "Why 12:12?" 11:11 would have scared the shit out of me for
Yeah.
sure. But for some reason at 12:12, just my Xbox, and it wasn't the fact that it gave me some of them, but not all of them.
Yeah. It's really weird.
Yeah,
So you got
And
all of them
I
now, though.
thought one of the achievements was to play Calvin's story again. That's the little kid on the swing.
Hmm.
I was like, why would they make me replay that? Like that felt like there was some story thing they wanted me to see or to do with that achievement. I thought maybe a different outcome or you'd see something different, but it was literally the same thing over again. So I kind of want to understand the reasoning by playing playing Calvin's story over again.
Yeah, I remember doing that because I had that achievement, but I didn't even think about it being like an Easter egg or like new development. That would have been cool. I bet there is
I,
some meaning for it. I feel like that game's so deep in all these little things. I'm sure there is some meaning for that.
mm-hmm. I was wanting to kind of want to watch a YouTube video of someone breaking it down.
I've been doing that. That's why I was even. It sounded probably like a joke, but I really was considering if I ever did get a tattoo, maybe being one of those because I loved the game and it was fun and the story was powerful. But there's not many games I play, especially like that, where it's. Well, I never played games that short really because that game's so short. But even in general, games that you just play and you're done with, not like Halo or something where you continually go back. There's not many games that I play and just continually think of because there's nothing to go back to it. So there's no reason to keep thinking of it. But that game, I think about it daily for random reasons and just like keep thinking about it and processing it. So I feel like that's a sign of how powerful the game is.
Most definitely, man. It's refreshing, is what it was. It was
Oh yeah,
definitely refreshing.
that's I think that's why I told you because we both love games. We talk about the things that annoy us, and that's why I knew it'd be so up your alley. And I was hoping that you give like an open chance because that's how I was too. And I said I going into the shit a walking simulator, but so fast I was like, oh man, and just opened up to something so amazing. Did this kind of deep territory going back to our old podcast? Did you cry at all?
Um, the answer is definitely yes, but I'm trying to remember what part. There was a couple parts. I think the suicide, and it makes you think about your own family too. So that's what got me. It was like my family. I think that
Yeah,
was the purpose of it. Is like life's short, and I don't know. But yeah, made me think of my own family, and I think that's what they were trying to do was relate it back to the people. I think his suicide, and when the credits rolled with all of the creators' pictures of kids.
yeah. Well, first off, I'm glad to hear you cry and know you're actually human now, because that's why I said it was touching subject. Because our old podcast of when I talked about Unravel and the meme that became, I was like, I feel like it's pretty normal to cry for games. I cry about all kinds of ridiculous games. I feel like Unravel is kind of a similar one, definitely not as powerful or even as good, but kind of similar way. But yeah, I definitely did multiple times too. His suicide, and I should start with, yeah, that's a lot of times I cry. I told you it's not even like Unravel. It's not really exactly just what I'm seeing or what they're doing. It definitely does help, especially with that game. They present everything so well, and it's all so powerful on its own. But yeah, more of the time it comes back to thinking about people I know or my family or my experiences. Like even I cried playing Halo 3 before because I'm like, oh man, there's nothing that touching in that game, but it reminds me of like all the friends I used to hang out with and me and my brother running through all the campaigns together and like the connection we would have. So that's why it can be so annoying when people discredit games and just talk about like Mario or Grand Theft Auto or Call of Duty or whatever because it can be so much more than that. But so yeah, that definitely feeds into most of my emotions with everything, but especially games since games are so important to me. And I know of three times I did. One was like you said when he committed suicide, especially because they present it in a way that it seems like he's. It starts out depressing in the fish factory, and they present it in a way like, oh man, this guy's getting better, and he's actually thinking good about himself, and he's rising up. And then you realize that's just him processing what's about to happen. I was like, oh, that's so fucked up. And then this one I feel like might surprise you because you might not even really bat an eye at it. But the story where the girl's taking a picture with the dad of the big deer, and he keeps trying to get her to take it, and then he gets knocked off the mountain by the deer, and obviously it's sad on its own like seeing that, but I could handle it. It's just a game doing it, but then it makes you think about real life. I was like, man, that'd fucking ruin my life. Like if Michaela was my little sister with my dad and she had to see that happen, I bet that would be the most fucked up thing in the world, especially when they're just trying to have a good time and in that one they present it clearly in a way that like he's trying to bond with her and has had issues with that, and then always trying to do is that, and then it ends in death. Oh, that is so messed up. And then were you gonna say something with that one? I don't want to keep going.
Uh, no, you're good. I think too. It's like because that's Edith's mom, right, and grandpa,
Yeah.
and then she's already lost at that point both her brothers,
Hmm.
and then your dad dies in front of you.
Yeah.
Dude, oh man, no, I there was a third time I cried. Was the baby in the bathtub?
Oh yeah, that was messed up. I didn't cry for some reason, but that was definitely one I thought of because with my little niece and how playful they present it. And, oh, this is a good time, and you know what's about to happen, but you can't stop it. Oh, that's so
Yeah,
messed up.
yeah, and it was craziness.
And then yeah, you have to think about that like in real life terms. That it's sad seeing it, but imagine in real life and not being able to stop it, even though you know what's about to happen to the baby. Because obviously, if somebody's there, it's like, oh, fucking grab the baby out of there. But you know what's gonna
Yeah,
happen, and you can see
I
somebody
totally
being,
forgot about that one.
yeah, I did too. And you can see an idiot being neglectful and just leaving a baby to be able to do that. So it's a very realistic thing.
And that was a different time too.
Yeah,
And it also the shower looked in like even the metal door and the weird glass warping
yeah.
that was going on that looked exactly like my grandma's tub when I was
Oh,
growing up.
really?
And I remember taking a lot of baths in their similar situation. And like the sliding, like they got the sound design on the game was so good,
Oh,
and the
yeah.
sliding glass door it sounded exactly how it did when I was a little kid. It was just they put a lot of work in sound design, which I think is incredibly important.
Yeah, I know you're talking about sound effects, which I agree with. Even the soundtrack, I feel like added to it so much. And I like game soundtracks, but they're hard to listen to outside of it because it's not usually never words, and it's hard to just like listen to it without the context of the game. But that's ones I've actually listened to, and it's weird to listen to because it's calming. Like, oh, this is nice, but then also brings up emotions because you start thinking about this shit again. And, oh God, so it's kind of hard to listen to at the same time.
Yeah.
Um, And then the third time I cried was the credits, like you were talking about, especially, I don't know if you saw where he said he dedicated it to his mom, the creator.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Jesus. And then this is all about death. So obviously that, I'm sure it factored into it for him.
Oh my God. And then it goes into the all the other people's kids.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's really good, man.
Yeah, it's a really
I,
special game. And I don't think they'll do a sequel. I feel like they're the kind of studio to purposely not do a sequel. And I feel like it'd be really weird to do it for that one. But I'm curious to see what their next game is and hope they can be.
oh, I forgot to bring this up too. Sorry,
You're
there's
good.
just so I knew I should wrote stuff down about this as I was going. But did you feel like the books on the shelves were important to the story?
I remember thinking that, but I can't remember why now.
I couldn't like every time I go to like a certain area or someone's room, I was like, okay, I want to read their books and see
Yeah.
like if this relates to their story. And the only time I saw a clear connection was would have been her great grandpa.
Hmm.
He was in the bunker hiding from whatever the thing was that's killing people.
Oh, yeah.
His books, did you read his books by any chance?
I remember going through them, but I can't remember what it was now.
It was all focused on like uh Viking stuff and like demonic stuff,
Oh yeah, uh huh.
exorcism and possessions, and so clearly he was like studying a way down there to fight it. So it was almost like the whatever it was an evil spirit,
Yeah,
demonic shit that was chasing them.
yeah. Um, well, first off, you don't have to feel bad about talking about it. I could talk about this game endlessly, and that's why I wanted you and keep talking about people playing it because it's one of those games, like I said, that I feel like it's really a truly one of a kind game, which doesn't really exist, and also it's such a game that I feel like everybody can relate to, and um, it is so powerful. And then even aside from those kind of things, I feel like is very approachable because almost anybody could play. There's no real true challenge to it, and the length is so perfect for even if you're not that into games to be able to just sit down. It's like the length of watching a long movie, and you can finish it. So yeah, I can talk about this game endlessly, but I really hope their next game. I was gonna say is the same, but like I said, I don't ever want a sequel to this game as much as I love it. But same in the way that they can capture that again of having something seem truly unique and touching and powerful, but be a completely new thing.
I I was hoping to go back to the library and find the book that got ripped in half to finish the
Uh,
grandma's story. I was wish there's some way to get back in there because it cuts it so short. Like she's like, "Oh, I go out to the house, and then you see the light on in the house, and then her story just ends,
yeah,
and it
yeah.
ends with the mom ripping the book in half." So I was like, "Man, if I could just get that, find wherever that key was, and get into the library."
Well,
I don't know. I just
I'm,
didn't like how the grandma story was so abruptly ended.
yeah, yeah. No, I definitely don't. I know we're praising it. I think there is a lot to be praised. I don't think it is a perfect game. I think there is some things like that I would change. There's some weird textured glitches and some things that
Yeah.
happen, but I feel like for how small the studio is and what they're able to achieve is super impressive. And those issues are minuscule compared to giant games that have way bigger budgets and way more people working on it. That it's easy to overlook with how much they accomplished. And I think it's crazy that Sony let Giant Sparrow go. They were exclusive for the Unfinished Swan, their first game I was telling you about. And
Hmm.
Sony had a contract for two more games, which would have been Edith Finch and one more, whatever their next game is. And they ended the contract, which I'm wondering how much Sony regrets that now. Not that Edith Finch is anything close compared to like the biggest games like Call of Duty or anything, but for its budget, it was super successful and went on to kind of explode into a huge indie game. And I'm wondering how much Sony regrets that because it's not on the scale of one of those games, but at the same time, the budget to keep them around probably isn't fucking even close to being able to have a game like that. So I'm wondering how much they regret letting them go.
Yeah, I'm so curious about that too.
I
Especially for them hanging on to someone like, oh gosh, what's the French studio? Um, Heavy Rain,
oh yeah, Quantic Dream.
Quantic Dream. This felt like it's very similar to Quantic Dream, but they've given Quantic Dream so many chances before eventually letting them go. But one chance with them didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Unfinished Swan. I think it's cool, and I think it has a lot of cool ideas, and it does have an impactful story, just not nearly as much. But that game critically was super successful, and I feel like if you have no matter how you feel about that first game, if you have a studio that is obviously that creative and different, I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep them around compared to us having similar games on every system and generation.
And they can't be, it's like you said, they can't be that expensive.
No, yeah, and I don't think they'd have much leverage even after their first game to. I don't think they were probably buying for much.
And
Uh,
the credits were so short.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He, I watched an interview with Ian Dallas, the creative director and the studio head there, and he said that it fluctuates depending on if they're working on a game or not. I think he said like Edith Finch, they had up to 28 people, I think, but he said normally they have like 4 to 6 people working at the studio,
Dang.
and even 28 is fucking minuscule compared to what most games do. And he said even then it wasn't like all 28 of those people were working on the game the whole time. He said that that was like throughout it, and that people would jump in and out, or that was like a total count. Um, Anything else on that guy before we move on?
No, that's it, man.
Before I flex, which feels really weird after this deep talk we had.
I
But here
forgot
it
all about
goes. Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Just flexed over your screen there.
that.
Um, but besides that, have you been playing anything else, Guy?
Just Warzone with you and
Hmm.
a few quests in the first Witcher. I'm gonna try to really push forward and beat the first Witcher and move on to the next game, which I'm kind of looking at Red Dead, which kind of sucks to go from this like really short game to knowing that all right, I'm gonna probably be here for a few months with
Uh huh.
Red Dead.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's definitely a nice thing about you just Finch is that you could just sit down and beat it. And also, um, I'm proud of you for doing it because, especially like I said that that wasn't in it. Actually end up being in our episode. But yeah, I like you said, I've been playing Warzone. I played some other people as well, but playing a lot of Warzone. That's been fun. Um, some of the normals, Halo, MCC, Madden. My franchise is not going well, and people just keep getting hurt. But I'm still in second place in my division, so tracking towards hopefully making the playoffs again.
There
And
you
I get
go.
Lamar Jackson back in a couple weeks, so we'll be good here. And then the only other thing I played, I started. Have you seen that game that they added a Game Pass called Deliver Us the Moon?
No.
I downloaded that hoping, not that I thought it'd be like Edith Finch, but that kind of game where it kind of was something I didn't really know about and kind of caught me off guard. And I've only played about an hour, so I won't judge it too much, but it's you might be surprised by this, but it's a space game. And it's cool. It seems definitely a game like low budget and probably not a big team, but it's cool because they nail a lot of things that bigger games can't. Kind of like Edith Finch, like the sound design is amazing, the atmosphere is really cool. Um, the soundtrack reminds me a lot of Interstellar, and like some of the way they're telling the story reminds me of that, which I'm a big fan of. But as far as the game itself, I'm not really sure how I feel about it. It starts out as a first person. Well, I was going to say first person shooter. First, I used to be doing that, but it's not a shooter, just first person view. But then it goes to third person. You see him in like his astronaut suit, and it's kind of just like exploration and but it's linear, kind of like just walking through. But then it'll cycle back to first person randomly, just at like different points where it thinks it should. And then there's some interesting things like really light puzzles, nothing hard at all, but just kind of progress the story. But where I feel like the most frustrating thing is so far is that um, there's zero G segments, and in those you're trying to solve these puzzles, and they're not hard, but you're kind of floating around, and to control that you have to use the left stick, and then to go up and down I think it's A and B, and then to turn left and right is L bumper and R bumper. So it's nothing is hard in the game, but it makes it more annoying and difficult than it should be, and not in a cool way. Because you don't know what you're doing, and then your character will kind of just start slowly tilting. You're like, oh, what the hell? Tilt back over, and kind of just messes with you. But like I said, not doesn't seem like an intentional way or interesting. But you should look it up. It's on Game Pass. I won't cost you anything. I think you might be interested in it, and I'm gonna play it more, so that's why I'm not judging it too much. Because I've only put like an hour into it.
Is it like a base builder or
No, it's
story driven?
yeah, story driven, linear, but there's just it's weird. It's kind of it seems empty, like there's not much to it, but I guess that's kind of it's in space and you're alone, so it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, it is hard to describe it because yeah, there's not much happening. I would say kind of just linear exploration and light puzzle solving is probably the best way I could describe it so far.
You have to try that out, man.
Yeah, let me know what you think. So I'm not crazy for it or anything yet. I just think it does a lot of interesting things, and then some things are annoying. That's why I want to play it more.
I dislike puzzles sometimes in games. Do you have to like YouTube it if you got
Oh
these
no,
puzzles, or are you feeling like,
no,
oh, I could do this?
yeah, I haven't even come close to looking up YouTube on any of them yet. Like I said,
Oh, okay.
The only thing that's made it a little hard is those controls and the zero G, but like, I don't think that's intentional. Like, man, they made that tough. I feel like it's just kind of bad design or frustrating. I don't know. Maybe I just got lucky, but I don't think I'm good at puzzle games either. Even like I told you, Portal is one of my favorite games, and I always try my best to figure out before I look it up. I'm not just like, oh, well, I don't know what to do here, so I'm gonna look it up. I always try and do it on my own, but yeah, I'm the same way. If I get to a point where I can tell I can't figure it out on my own, I'm just getting frustrated. I'd rather look it up and be able to progress instead of just not being able to play a game. But yeah, it's so hard that you can't even do it then. That's where I definitely give up on it. But yeah, this game I haven't had to even come close to looking anything up yet.
Sweet,
Um,
I'm about to check it out then.
okay, let me know what you think. What you been watching, guy?
Um, Gosh, what have I been watching? Blah, blah, blah. Let me pull up. Kind of been watching a lot.
That's weird. I've been doing the opposite. I actually only have two things on my list. I think I'm missing one, but I only have two on my list this time.
Well, 60 days in, I've been really watching. I don't know if I told you about that or not.
I think
Um,
so.
it's where they like take people, different like retired police officers or retired correctional officers, and they put them in prison for
Oh
60
yeah,
days
yeah. You talked about this
in
last
jail
week.
and try to figure out like how drugs and stuff are getting in there. And
Yeah.
um, it seems legit.
Hmm.
I really hate fake reality shows, and I can, if I can even get a little sense that it's fake, I'm out of there.
Yeah.
But this seems pretty legit. They use the cameras that the prisons would be using normally,
Hmm.
and their approach to how they film it feels real. I don't know if it's real or not.
Yeah.
But then about halfway through another documentary called "The Devil We Know," and it's about the Teflon. Are you familiar with Teflon?
I am. Actually, the movie I told you should watch, I think you would love the movie called Deep Water with Ruffalo. That's what that's all about. Is that story? If that's what you're
Oh,
gonna talk
really?
about, yeah, it's so fucking good. And he's plays I think what was it? Um, God, I can't remember now. Can't remember what his official title or position was, but he was at Ohio State, and it's a real story, and it's so good.
Oh man, jeez, I apologize. Yeah, man, I'll have to check that out. That's a pretty recent movie.
Yeah, yeah, and really
Yeah,
underrated. I think it's awesome.
you should check out The Devil We Know. Then it's about in Parkersburg where they uh, high number of cancer rates and birth defects, and they interview the surviving people. It's just really sad because they just like go on for 20 minutes naming off everybody they know that's passed away from cancer.
That's
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
oh no, you're good. It just kind of reminds me of asbestos, but no one's really talking about it. When I hear like my grandpa worked, he redid brakes and stuff, and he's passed away. But before that, he would tell me about how common asbestos was used, and especially in braking, and um, how it'd fall like snow, and nobody really cared, and some people even used it as fake snow, and you'd literally play in it. And then to like think about my parents using Scotch Guard in the early 2000s, and like thinking about like, oh, non-stick pans. We got to make sure we always buy non-stick pans.
Uh-huh.
It's like, oh my god, is this my own asbestos? Is this what I'm going to tell my grandkids about? Um, and not even no one even talks about it. And I feel like it's been a big, huge cover up or something. It's a cover up that's not really been covered up. It's just no one gives a shit.
You
Um,
should you should watch this movie. It's about Parkersburg. It's all about this. This is I looked it up a little bit so I could talk about it a little better. The dude that Mark Ruffalo played, his name's Robert Blount, and he was a corporate defense lawyer from Cincinnati, but he went to Ohio State, and he's the one that pushed this so hard to make it to try and be a known thing, and it gets real deep into how much they try to cover it up and how much they just every time they told him that they were going to go public with it, that they would cover it up and keep trying to hide him, and it makes it more interesting for us too, being from Ohio, because there's a lot of Cincinnati landmarks they show, and it's not spoiling it. At the end, they show the skyline of Columbus, which you never see in movies, so that was cool.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah, the story itself, I was like, man, am I an idiot? Is this like a well-known thing? Because they're talking about it like it is, but this is fucking crazy to me. And um, I think it said I should look it up so I don't just spout some crazy thing, but I'm pretty sure it said at this point that 99% of people have that chemical and disease in their body because
Yeah.
Teflon has moved so much throughout the world and that it's on so much things or that we everybody's living with it and just doesn't know it and it's fucking nuts.
Yeah, man, it is crazy. He's a big part of this documentary too.
Oh really?
Yeah, you should definitely check it out. It's free on Netflix. Um,
Okay.
yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh gosh, I just lost. You didn't cause me to lose it. I just totally forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, then you said 95% of people have it or whatever.
Hmm.
Yes, they were trying to find a control for it. 3M or uh, I forget the other company that was involved. They're trying to find a control, so they're trying to find a population that didn't have it,
Yeah.
and they went to Asia and all over the world, and they're like, well, these people have already been infected by it, so they had to go back before the Korean War. All the soldiers sent to Korea, they had got their blood drawn, and the United States government had stored their blood in 1950s, and so they went back and got their blood, and they're like, oh, this is our control because this is before we um, put the chemical in the environment. Um, it's just weird to think that they poisoned all of us and no one talks about it. And it's got a crazy half-life, like you die with it.
Yeah, that's
Um,
I know it's probably like it's also like the coronavirus where some people get way worse, like you said, birth defects and like literally life threatening things and ending. But yeah, at the same time, it is fucking weird. Usually watch movies like that and you're like, man, this is nuts and this is a crazy story, but it doesn't really truly affect me, but makes it more crazy watching. You're like, oh, this actually is me. Maybe not
yeah,
to this
and I've
degree where,
driven through Parkersburg plenty of times going to Virginia.
yeah, it's just weird seeing that stat and you're like, oh, that's me. I'm one of those.
Yeah, and it's funny that this one worker, he's like, first they banned all women from the factory.
Yeah.
He's like, it kind of made me start questioning stuff. He's like, well, are we safe? He's like, yeah, it only affects pregnant women. And then he's like, him slowly coming to realization, like he's like, oh, I looked out my window and my neighbor's dog is covered in tumors, and they're not sure where the tumors came from. And did you ever watch the show Oblongs? It's like fucking real life Oblongs,
I don't
the
think
Will
so.
Ferrell animated show.
No, I don't think so.
Oh god, it's about these like this family of mutants that are like living in this radioactive town,
Huh.
and that's such a sad way to put it because these people actually died, but a terrible way to put it. But he's like, then these my neighbors, they're young guys, they both had testicular cancer. He's naming all these people dying, and he's like, hold up, is this all this cancer caused by this? And it's just fucking terrible to think
Uh-huh.
about the cover up. But yeah, man, you should check out that. I'm only halfway through it, but so far it's really good. They focus a lot on a guy too that was born with heavy birth defects, and just how he's trying to make the decision to have kids, but he's worried it's also going to spread to his kids.
Um, yeah, I'll check that out. And you should check out Deep Waters. There's also this really cool thing. I thought maybe the reason I brought this up today, maybe we're gonna talk about this guy, but it doesn't sound like it. There's some guy that what's his defect? I can't remember. It was a really fucking messed up defect that he had from it, and the guy that actually had those real defects in real life, they had him played in the movie, which I thought was cool. So he's one of the main actors, and they actually had him be in the movie, even though he really actually lived through these real defects, and that is him. But they had him be
What
on.
does his face look like?
It's gonna describe it. I can't remember exactly what his defects were like. What is the guy you're talking about?
It's like his eye, one side of his eye is all fucked up,
That's what I was
and
gonna
he lost
say.
a nostril, so they had to recreate a nostril.
I think
So
that's
his
him.
nose looks a little off.
Yeah, and is he bald? Do I remember?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's him. Yeah,
Oh yeah, he's a big part of the documentary too, man.
yeah, he acted in the movie like the actual guy did. So
Holy shit. I guess yeah, you really can't unless you like prosthetics or something.
yeah, that's why I was thinking it'd be kind of messed up if it wasn't him. unless he didn't. Obviously,
Yeah.
unless he didn't want to do it.
Trying to think what other movies I've watched or TV shows. I can't think of any offhand right now, but um, uh, um, I think I watched. I don't know if I talked about the last episode, but Gothic King Cobra. They
Uh,
released a new documentary on him. It's this weird YouTuber. He's great. Um, but yeah, I watched the newest documentary on him by I think the YouTuber's Mountain Wizard.
okay.
Just a lot. I watched so many documentaries. It's kind of ridiculous. But what have you been watching? Did you got
Um,
a couple things?
yeah, me and Danielle watched another episode of Unlock the World of Games Revealed, the documentary I told you about that um, dude that made a video games movie, and we're on a second disc, and it's still really enjoyable. And then we watched the last episode of Tiger King, with the like after show thing, whatever you want to call it. Can't remember. Did you say you watched it?
I started it and I got pissed off because they advertised it as a new episode, or it got
Yeah.
leaked as a new episode, and it was just like watching a Skype call.
Uh huh. No,
And you know how I feel about the host. I wasn't not the biggest fan of him, so I was like, I'm out of
yeah,
here.
yeah. I don't. I was gonna say you should watch. I don't know. Um, just unbiasedly, I think he actually has a lot of funny parts in it because there's some his humor. I realized that even for me, his jokes are funny. I think are hilarious, but then there's some that just don't land at all and almost come off cringy. And he definitely has some of those jokes, but Danielle hates him too, and she's like, he actually wasn't bad and seemed more likable in that. And I think it's for that reason that he's self-aware when his jokes are just don't land and dumb, but then he has really funny moments. But I think you talked last week about um, the transgender guy in that. Remember?
Try to fix my lighting. I just feel like I've gotten creepier. Yeah, the transgender the transgender guy.
Yeah, didn't you say that he was really upset the way they presented it, like he was a female?
Yeah, the article I read, it was an article by I'm sure it was a really biased article. But I read an article that I don't know if the article said that he was pissed off, or that they was just pissed that he told them like, "Hey, I'm a guy and this is my name," but then they still used the female pronouns, or you know her initial name.
Yeah, 'cause that's exactly what I was gonna say. It seems like most of these things where like the Redskins or Chief Wahoo, where all the white knights are offended, but then you ask people who are actually should be or could be offended by this stuff, and yeah, majority of them, yeah, we don't give a shit. Um, Joe McHale, I was presenting in a way like that that it was messed up, and a lot of people were talking about it. And he goes, "So how do you feel? Does it hurt your feelings?" Oh no, I could really care less. I mean, maybe other people are offended by it, but I didn't really care. I was, oh
That's
wow, what a
God
surprise! A
damn it.
person that could or maybe should be offended by it doesn't care, but everyone else cares for them.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's literally straight from his mouth, and he's like, yeah, I don't care, and
It
kind of made
just
it
seems
seem
like
like,
there's some people out there, journalists or Twitter users, that are like, "Oh, this thing's popular. Let me try to figure out a way to dismantle it,
yeah,
cancel
Robert Downey Jr. Um,
it."
so I guess that brings us to the reminders of the free games this week. So on Xbox One, you got Knights of Pen and Paper bundle till May 15th, and you got V Rally 4, which I didn't hear the first three, but V Rally 4 till May 31st, and World of Soccer till May 15th. And then on, wait, World of Soccer, I think is 360 because I don't have a 360 game listed here, so I think I did that wrong. But then I don't know if you've seen Xbox has kind of done the PlayStation thing where there's just random games being free, so I don't know how long these will last. But Crackdown, Crackdown 2, 2 Human, and Pac Man Championship Edition 2 is they're all free right now, like aside from Gold.
Dang.
So and Pac Man is free on every platform on PlayStation and on PC as well. And that's another thing. I never bring up PC. I know that there's always free games on there, but that's way harder to track because it seems like that's way more common on there. And also, it's hard to tell what's actually free on there and what's free but goes away because it's a trial. So that's why I don't usually talk about those because these are all full games you could actually keep. But then on PlayStation Plus, you got Uncharted 4 and Dirt Rally 2.0. And then, like I said, you can get, aside from Plus, you can get Pac Man, Journey, and the Uncharted collection. But that's a shitload of free games if you have both those.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Um, you got any fake outrage, buddy?
Um, yeah, I have one, buddy. Okay.
I got one too this week. Look at
I've actually
this.
been pretty riled up about it, actually.
Uh oh, so is this fake?
I've been shaking a lot. No, I just, I I have somebody in my life that I care a lot about, and uh, honestly, I've been helping them, adjustments to life. Coming out as a transgender is not easy. So, you know, I adopted a cat a few weeks ago. You know that, right?
Uh huh.
Well, this cat is, was born a female, but I'm sorry, was born a male, but wanted to be female. So we do everything to accommodate that, and we get him, we get her. Sorry. Um, wow, that's just completely disrespectful. I can't believe we did that. We get her a pink cage and a pink glitter collar with a flower on it, and glitter nails. These little covers for her nails. Um, and we, her name is Luscious, and so we get her pink collar or a pink name tag that says, "Hi, my name is Luscious," and we take her to the vet, to get fixed to make everything official. And for some reason, the vet calls me and goes, this is a male cat." And I couldn't believe it. Not in the year 2020. Like, 20 years ago, this would have made sense, but today's day and age, I just don't understand where you come off that. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious. It was absolutely disrespectful, and it was unneeded. And since then, my cat's been upset. I've tried everything to comfort her, but so just it's just unbelievable the world that Donald Trump has created, and we have to live in it now.
So, as one sensitive individual to another, I understand your feelings, but I think the most offensive thing there is the cat's name is Luscious. Is that actually its fucking name?
That's her name, yeah.
I sure you told me that, but I don't think I processed it, or I think my mind tried to forget it. Yeah, this is fake outrage, but I'm gonna be outraged for a second. It's fucking horrendous.
Yeah, if I want the real story, I thought for fucking 6 months that this cat was a female, and I go to a vet, and they're like, "This is a male cat." I was like, "You gotta be shitting me!" And my vet's kind of awkward and uh, hilarious. He's like, "Yeah, there's a wiener and balls here." I was like, "This is fucking great."
It's like Dave and Allie. They thought it was gonna be a girl too, and then bam, guy. Um, that's the other thing. I'm glad you talked about your vet. What kind of? Are you sure this is a vet? Because I heard vets are closed because everything's happening. So are you just taking this to like a
So
CVS?
it's kind of weird. It's like a drive-through vet. You pull up to your vet and you say, "Hey, I'm here." They come out in hazmat suits and take your cat from your car
Oh my
and take
god.
it inside, and then you wait in the parking lot, and they're like, "Okay, we're ready," and then you pull up, and then you pick up your animal.
Are you sure it's not just because it's a cat? That's why I had the hazmat suits.
It's exactly right.
Oh god, another one's coming in. Um, well, I appreciate you sharing such touching things. I'm gonna do the same now. So, I was reading the New York Times today, as I normally do, which I don't at all. I just if there's an
That's gotta be
article
the
happen.
douchiest thing you could say.
That's why I clarified it. Just a lot of articles obviously come from there, so I see them. But there was this very terrible story. I don't know if you saw it. the story's real. About a morgue in New York City that people were reporting a foul smell that lived near there. So the police came and they found 40 to 65 bodies, they said, in U-Haul trucks outside the morgue and stacking on the floors on the inside of the building because they said they were too crowded in there. And you might be like, that's messed up. All these people's lives that should be, I mean, they're gone now, but they should be cared for. And that's all, that is crazy. It's a messed up story. But my real concern comes from the fact that if there was 40 to 65 bodies in a U-Haul, were they really practicing social distancing of 6 feet? Because I can't imagine how you would do that.
I mean, that's probably why they got infected in the first place.
So, yeah, I mean, sure, it's messed up that they're handling 40 to 65 bodies and stacking them, but I mean, who really gives a shit if they're not practicing that, you know?
That's right, man. Oh my gosh. That's that's horrendous. See, that's what I'm saying. This is kind of minor, the coronavirus,
Uh
to
huh.
something real detrimental happening. This is how sensitive our world is. That the morgues are filling up. I know New York's hit really hard, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello?
you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Oh, phew. Um, I think that's it for this week, guy. You got
I mean,
anything
that's
else?
just irresponsible.
Sorry?
It's irresponsible to not social
Oh,
distance
that.
in the U-Haul
Yeah, I'm
trucks.
glad you see where I'm coming from on that. I
Yeah.
mean, some people might think it's irresponsible to stack 40 to 65 bodies in a U-Haul of not respecting their dead bodies, but I mean, I don't could really give two shits about that if they're practicing social distancing. That's all that really matters.
Was it refrigerated trucks or actual U-Hauls?
No, just real U-Hauls. So yeah, that's what
That
I
is
said.
fucking dude. The poor fucker that's got to get to that next. Okay, we're gonna move. Let me rent a U-Haul. This one's haunted, sir, and it smells like shit.
um, I think that's it, though, guy. Anything else for you this week?
No, I'm just thinking about the fucking cop that's gotta go there and deal with that thing. Okay, so what are we doing with these ones? Just letting them stink out here? That's disgusting. That is sad, disgusting.
That's that's why I debated even try and make it fake outrage. Cause the thing itself is so fucked up. I was like, shit, I found a gold mine here.
God. All right, but I think that's a good ending right there.
All right. Do you still want to play games tonight, or you want to do another night since it's later than normal?
Um, yeah, I probably should do it another night.
All right. No, that's all good. I might do a solo thing for a couple minutes here and then get out.
All right, buddy.
All right. It was fun talking to you, sir.
I think this fake outrage is going to turn into real outrage in the comments. If we were a bigger podcast, I'm
Oh
quite
fuck yeah.
certain that both our fake outrages would be.
In the
I
New
just
York
couldn't even
Times.
imagine. All right, bye, buddy.
See you, pal. I hope everybody likes my voice crack. That showed how excited I was. Um, and I hope they like me just moving the wrong screen there instead of taking Cody away. But let me get him out of here. You know the drill by now, right? There we go. There we go. It's just us. It's just us. Don't worry. He's not here anymore. It's that the quiet time with me. There's the old set and my flamingo shirt. So we're not gonna spend too much time on the virus. It's just gonna be a quick thing because um so the numbers since I was gonna say the last time we updated. I'm not sure exactly when that was now. So it's was go starting on April 22nd. 392. These are new cases in Ohio. 577, 475, 418, 376, 362, 444, 534, and then I can't look up today's yet. I think it was about 600. So it is increasing, and the strong narrative on it and the common narrative is that this is what happens when you lift the restriction and things get more loosened up. For one, the restriction doesn't actually lift till today, May 1st, and even then, there's very few actual changes to it, and that not many more places are opening up till at least May 12th. There's not much of a difference right now, and so the fact of opening up hasn't done a thing to this yet because nothing has opened up, and the cases are going to rise, and everybody right now is saying that there's no way they won't rise. The experts, common people, people with that narrative, everybody's saying the numbers are going to rise. Even I'll agree the numbers are going to rise because, yeah, you're lifting restrictions, things are getting more open, but even more so than that, the testing is vastly increasing and getting higher and higher. And that's been the biggest thing this whole time is that if there's more testing, the numbers would skyrocket. And I don't know the number on the testing because they don't say it very often, but I know they say they're increasing like crazy compared to the cases that are happening. So if the numbers don't rise, I feel like that's actually more concerning because the testing is going skyrocketing and it is getting more loose. So there's no way it shouldn't climb. But I feel like already the overreaction happening and we haven't actually opened yet or even started the opening process. So I feel like people need to keep in mind that they're saying that there's no way it won't rise for when it does rise to not be shocked on that about that and say how we need to close everything up. And it was obvious that we couldn't open things because they're all saying that that is going to happen and that with more testing it was going to happen no matter how much we practice these things. So it was only a matter of time. So that's going to happen. And then the biggest outrage about it was that the governor of Ohio said that it would be mandated to wear masks and gloves anywhere you went in public. And there's huge outcry about that because people are talking about how it was taking our rights away. So he loosened that to that's a highly recommended, but then everybody's outraged because they said that you can recommend it, but nobody's going to follow it. For one, there's still going to be a lot of people that follow it, and two, um, that he also said any business has the right to mandate it. So if Walmart wants to make that restriction and can't come into their store, then they have that right. So if you truly don't believe that should be a thing and you think the governor has a terrible choice, but you're going to these places and they're not mandating you to do it, then the only person you can blame is yourself because you're going to a place that isn't mandating it. And if you don't believe in that, why are you going places that don't mandate it? And um, again, I think you could find common ground in this. I feel like you could say that it's mandatory for till May 15th or the end of the month, and then after that, it's up to businesses to decide. So again, I think there is a middle ground, but I don't think, like I said, the opposite end, like how normally is, that it just has to be completely the opposite way. Um, so that's pretty much all I got on that. Like I said, I want to report everything, even if it doesn't just line up with how I think it, and the numbers are going higher up. So I wanted to say those numbers, but again, they're still way below the projected. And let's hope everything keeps getting back to normal, and it seems like things are progressing to become somewhat normal. So no matter how you feel about it, I feel like it'd be weird if you don't hope for that. So I'm definitely hoping for that things will be normal. Um, so thanks again for watching. I think this episode went really well overall, and we actually had a good amount to talk about. So leave feedback if how you feel about it in the comments. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, discuss. Just comment away, and if you want to follow us, you can do that as always on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at currentbacklog. And if you have any questions, comments, corrections, questions, or feedback, I do that every week. You can send that to currentbackloggers@gmail.com. But yeah, just thanks again for everybody that watches and actually sits through all this, especially the solo segment. And hope everything's normal soon. And if you could like the video, we appreciate it. Subscribe if you haven't. Hit the little bell for the reminder if you haven't. Share the video so we can try and get over 12 subscribers for once and our views not go lower but higher. And if you haven't played Edith Finch, or I should say a full title, What Remains of Edith Finch, play What Remains of Edith Finch. You won't regret it. Look at Cody. It's a great time. It's powerful. That's it, and I love you.